Hello, it's Friday morning in New Zealand, wintertime, chilly, and it is time for coffee with Chrissy. So I actually had to go and make a second cup of coffee to do this recording. Otherwise, how could it possibly be coffee with Chrissy if Chrissy doesn't have her coffee in her favorite copper mug? How do you take your coffee? I have a beautiful Nespresso coffee machine. I make my coffee in a latte style and I sprinkle spice, cinnamon and cloves and nutmeg and all that on top. And it is absolutely lovely. I love it. And of course, I've got a milk frother. So I'm very blessed. It was a gift for me one Christmas, the first Christmas I moved here because I live quite remotely and a bit too far away to go for morning coffee in town. So there you go. That's my coffee history. Am I a coffee snob? No, not really. I just like coffee. So, as you can see on here, coffee is a beverage that makes me a decent human every morning. I'll drink to that one. You never have enough, can you? Right. I have written a story this morning. I'm always writing. I'm always being flooded with thoughts and ideas and words. And when they flood, I have to get them out there. So I have typed this out and I'm going to read it to you. This isn't one, well, maybe it'll go in a book later. I might do a coffee musing booklet. But for now, it's going in my library of many, many stories that I've done, and I'm going to start to share them here on YouTube. Because I think everyone can benefit from some of my words. So here we go. I'm going to read this. So focus on the cup of coffee here. You don't need to focus on me reading, okay? And I will not guarantee that I will read this with total flow. I speak from the heart. So when I have to read something, sometimes I'll read a sentence twice. So I apologize. I will get better, okay? So let's get started. This morning, my coffee made me smile. I came across a little quote that said, "Coffee is a beverage that makes me a decent human being every morning." It made me laugh, but then it also made me think, does it really take much to be a decent human being? I believe it does. Actually, I don't believe it does. Let me rewrite that. Let me reread that. I don't believe it does. I hope you get some amusement out of the way I read and write and share. It's all part of who Chrissy is. And if I didn't say already, I'm Chrissy Taylor. Chrissy B, I go by. I live in New Zealand and I am a writer. Right, exactly. In fact, I believe there is a thread of goodness running through every one of us. Sometimes it shines brightly, and sometimes it becomes buried beneath life's disappointments, hurts, and misunderstandings. But I don't believe it ever truly disappears. Sadly, somewhere along the way, many people stop believing they are good enough. Perhaps someone spoke harshly to them as a child. Perhaps they were bullied at school. Perhaps a parent, a teacher, a partner, or a friend said something that wounded them so deeply that those words became part of the story they told themselves. The remarkable thing about the human mind is that it remembers. Sometimes we carefully lock painful memories away, believing we've dealt with them. We push them under the carpet. We hide them in the compartments, those little compartments that we have in our heads. And then years later, sometimes decades later, something unexpected happens. A conversation, a comment, a disagreement. Suddenly the old wound opens up again. And we're no longer reacting to today. We're reacting to yesterday. Perhaps that's why so many people carry anxiety, fear, or a feeling that they're just somehow not enough. Not because they aren't worthy, but because somewhere along the journey they forgot they always were worthy, that is. The more I reflect on life, the more I realize something else. We're all human. Every single one of us has said things we wish we could take back. Yes, me included. We've all misunderstood someone. We've all judged way too quickly. We've all spoken from hurt instead of from love. I know I have. There are words I wish I could unsay, friendships I wish had ended differently. I'm going to cry. Moments I would handle with far more grace if I could live them again. But perhaps that too is part of being human. We learn, we grow, we soften. And maybe forgiveness isn't only about forgiving others. Maybe it's about gently forgiving ourselves for not knowing then what we know now. So today, instead of asking yourself whether you've done enough, ask yourself something far more important. Can you remember your own goodness? Not because of what you've achieved, not because of what you've earned, not because someone else approves of you. Simply because you are a human being with a heart that is still capable of kindness. That goodness has always been there. Sometimes it just needs a little remembering. And perhaps a good cup of coffee can help too. I hope you enjoyed that. There's loads more writing that I've got and that I will share. The words just keep flowing at the moment, so I'm enjoying that flow of words. If there's anything that resonates with you, subscribe to my channel, comment, bring other people along. I would love to share more wisdom, more, what's the word? Musings. I'm looking for my paper. What's that word I'm looking for? And that's another thing with me. I'm not perfect. If somebody asked me to write a piece about something specific, I probably could do it, but it would be stressful. I would be too much thinking, oh my gosh, I have to write something about something. This is why I don't go to a writer's club or anything like that, because my writing flows from within. It's inspired from stuff around me. When the words come into my head, it's almost, if you can imagine all of a sudden my brain opening up and all these words, letters are flowing right into the brain. I then have to actually speak them and dictate them because my typing is not fast. I can't keep up with the words that flow. I'd love to know if other people have this same method of writing. To me, it's normal. I hear people talk about writing novels and life stories and reflections of life, from, say, the place they came from. I would struggle like crazy with something like that unless I can actually speak it and dictate it and then transcribe it to put down onto paper. I'd be totally lost without the voice to speak it. And sometimes that's why I lose my words as well, because if they're not floating into me, sometimes I can't find the words. So if I'm trying to do something specifically structured, it's a major challenge. Major challenge. But I think that's also relating to my design when it comes to my human design work. I'm beginning to understand myself so much more. That's also helped me with my writing to be able to get that across with a different energy behind it too. So if anything I talk about resonates or you're curious about, keep coming back for more. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I'm going to finish this now. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to say bye for now and I'll see you next time, whichever day that might be.